chances of an Expos sweep in Los Angeles, coming in here on a 4-game losing streak and facing the Dodger Aces, looked pretty slim. But on Tuesday night, they chased Fernando Valenzuela with 10 hits in a 6-5 victory. And it didn't get any easier on Wednesday night. Orel Hershiser in his 6-1 record was up against the Expos. Andres Galarraga hit his 8th home run of the season, a solo shot, and it's the only run that Montreal needed. 24-year-old rookie John Dobson pitched 6 innings of 3-hit ball for his first major league win. He turned the ball over to the Expos bullpen. Tim Burke followed Joe Hesketh to get the final outs in a Montreal 3-0 victory. Now they try to haul out the broom and sweep in Hollywood. Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Houston. Welcome to Dodger Stadium. You would think tonight that the pitching matchup would favor the Expos with Dennis Martinez against Tim Leary. Ken Singleton, this is a team that really needed to get a streak together as they stumbled along, and now with a sweep in Dodger Stadium, if they can do it, that's a great chance to get on a roll, isn't it?
Well, Jim, I've made this point in the past, but I feel it bears repeating. How many times have the Expos had a chance to sweep the Dodgers here in Dodger Stadium? Tonight is the game where they really should go hard. They have Martinez on the mound, a pitcher who's pitched in somewhat of bad luck of late, and maybe he can get it together tonight.
Well, the West Coast trips have been good to them of late. They were 5-1 in Dodger Stadium last year. They're 2-0 so far this season. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
Welcome back to Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, and with me is last night's winning pitcher. It's the first time you could say that in the major leagues. It's John Dobson. And John, I'm sure it must have felt good to get that first major league win under your belt. You've been pitching well.
Yes, it is. I've been pitched very well for 2 starts, and although I've kept us in the game for 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, no runs, and Galarraga came through with a home run. I knew I had to pitch well because I was up against Orel Hershiser. My concentration was really there, and everything worked out okay.
You speak about being against a tough pitcher like Hershiser. When you come to the park, you know you've got that matchup. You know you can't give up too many runs, and you got the job done last night. You must have felt good, but kind of nervous in the locker room sitting on that lead after 6 innings?
Oh, a little bit, not too much. My concentration was really there. I knew that I had to hold him down because I knew Orel was a great pitcher. He doesn't give up very many runs, and I just concentrated real hard, and my sinker was really working well, and I was getting my ground balls and jamming them when I had to in tough situations, and that's about it.
The other night in San Diego, it seemed that your breaking ball was working well and you're struggling with your fastball. Last night, was it the other way around? You said your sinker was working.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't throw too many sliders because I felt real strong, my arm was strong, and the balls were sinking well, and I stuck with that basically. I didn't really throw too many breaking balls at all.
Well, John, many wins in the future for you, especially with the Expos here. I'm sure you can help them out in the future. You're all watching Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
Charlie Williams was the umpire behind home plate last night and threw Tommy Lasorda out of the game for arguing a ball strike call on Herm Winningham in the 9th inning. And he'll be at third base very close to the Dodger dugout. Bob Engel is at home plate. Paul Runge at first, and Joe West is at second base. That's the crew that will handle this game, the third of the 3-game set between the Dodgers and the Expos. The weather is absolutely sensational. Clear, 23 degrees, absolutely no wind as the flags hang limply on the staffs at the outfield at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. 27,000 last night, 34,000 the night before that. And they'll be in between 20 and 30,000 for the finale here tonight. The Montreal Expos unable to gain any ground in the last couple of nights simply because the New York Mets refused to lose in San Diego.
Take a look at the standings in the National League East. You see how the Mets are doing quite well. 26-11 at the top of the pack. As we move over to the National League Western Division standings, the Dodgers and the Houston Astros are virtually tied for first place. The Dodgers just percentage points ahead of Houston. Cincinnati Reds just a game over the 500 mark in third place. And you see the San Francisco Giants, with the Expos are headed next after this game tonight. The Giants have finally made it to 500.
Tommy Lasorda didn't get enough words in last night. I think he wants to clear the air this evening.
Talking things over with the first base umpire tonight. That's Paul Runge in your picture, talking it over with Tommy. That's not the umpire he had the problem with. It was home plate umpire in last night's ball game, Charlie Williams. And you made a good point. Charlie will be near the Los Angeles Dodger dugout tonight when he's stationed at third base. Will there be any ill feelings? For any close plays go against the Dodgers, you can bet that Lasorda will be out.
Tommy was steamed that he got thrown out last night. He didn't think he said anything. He said Williams just came over and tossed me before I had a chance to. 29-year-old Tim Leary gets the start tonight. Valenzuela and Hershiser couldn't beat the Expos. And Leary, who grew up not far from here in Santa Monica, will try and keep the Expos from sweeping tonight. The Expos have 19 hits in the last 2 nights. That's quite an accomplishment for the team that had 14 hits for a series of 3 losses in San Diego. This new look lineup is 2-0, so it stays the same. Wallach's up in the 2 spot, Raines batting 3rd, and RBI leader Brooks in the cleanup spot. Herm Winningham leads off instead of Mitch Webster, as he did last night. Jeff Reed catches for the first time in this series. Nelson Santavena has caught the last 2 games. Montreal's hitting .245 as a team that's 7th in the National League.
Tim Leary, former UCLA Bruin, a former #1 draft choice by the New York Mets back in 1979. Out of the Mets organization, he was traded to Milwaukee and then came to the Dodgers in a deal that sent first baseman Greg Brock over to the Brewers.
At third base, Jackie Moore.
The defense tonight for the Dodgers. That will support Leary and his struggles against the Expos. That's Mike Marshall at first, Steve Sachs at second, Alfredo Griffin at short, Pedro Guerrero third base, Kirk Gibson, John Shelby, Mike Davis in the outfield, Mike Scioscia behind the plate, Leary on the mound, and then he's facing Herm Winningham, leadoff hitter.
This is a set lineup for the Dodgers. You see the same defense pretty well every day unless somebody gets hurt and unless they start losing too many games. Nobody's panicking around here like now. They've lost 2 in a row, and their record at home has now fallen to 11-9. They're 10-10 against the East, 0-2 against the Expos.
Herm Winningham got the start in last night's ball game over Mitch Webster as manager Buck Rogers continues to shake up the lineup. Winningham had a pair of hits last night. Could have had 3 if Mike Marshall didn't rob him of a hit in the first inning.
Herman also collected his first run batted in of the season last night. The 3rd run in a 3-0 victory for the Expos. This team's sort of lucky, isn't it, Ken, that they've got so many guys that qualify as a leadoff type hitter. You could put Webster up there. Herm Winningham has speed, as is witnessed by his play in the outfield.
Breaking ball from Leary has Winningham headed back to the dugout. Watch this ball drop off. Winningham expecting the fastball. Looks like some sort of split finger pitch. Goes almost straight down. Scioscia grabs it out of the dirt, makes the tag, and that's strikeout number 1.
Maybe that's a pitch that Leary has acquired that had him pitching so well in winter ball and has him striking out batters. It's something unusual for him. He's not been known as a strikeout pitcher, but now has 35, and this is his 41st inning.
And he's shown great control, hasn't walked too many batters. That'll keep you out of trouble. There's Tim Wallach.
The #2 hitter is 3 for 9 in this series. Hit a home run last night off Alejandro Pena to make it 2-0. Count is 1-1 from Tim Leary to Tim Wallach, who also grew up nearby, lives in Tustin, California, a suburb of Los Angeles. 1-2. Wallach's average at .239, as you saw. He has only 11 runs batted in. Part of the reason he's up in the #2 spot now, and the RBI leader Brooks is batting 4th. And Wallach is gone. Strikeout number 2 for Leary. That's a great start.
This time of night, the lights haven't really taken effect. I would ordinarily say that the hitters are having a problem finding the ball, but the other night, the same situation. There were 5 runs scored in the first inning between both ball clubs. Manager Tommy Lasorda. If he can get Tim Leary to go with his big 2, Oral Hershiser and Fernando Valenzuela, and get him pitching well, the Dodgers will be there in the top of the division in the West all year long.
And might not miss Bob Welch as much as they might otherwise. Tim Raines is 3 for 8 against the Dodgers in this series. His average is only .275. Started this trip to Atlanta, San Diego, LA, and San Francisco at .298. He's near .300 as a left-handed hitter, .297 batting against right-handers as he is now. 1-0 pitch from Tim Leary to Tim Raines. Ball 2, 2-0. Leary's lifetime record is just 1-1 against Montreal. The only victory was a complete game win when he was with the New York Mets several seasons ago. This is just his second start against Montreal, although he's pitched in relief against them. 2 balls and a strike to Tim Raines. Top of the first. If you've just joined us, I'm Jim Houston with Ken Singleton at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Third game of a 3-game set. The Expos won the first 2 as Raines fouls one off.
Well, last night a situation came up in the ball game with Raines at bat and the base open. Now, it wasn't an intentional walk with Ubi Brooks coming up next, but they barely rolled the ball to the plate and Tim was walked.
Strikeout number 3 for Tim Leary, who has an impressive start against the Expos, striking out the side. Winningham, Wallach, and Raines all go down on strikes.
Target from Socia, low and inside, and he puts the ball almost right in the glove, right on the corner. Strike 3 call by veteran umpire Bob Engel.
Tough act for Dennis Martinez to follow as Leary gets the Expos to strike out in the first. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. From Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California, the Dodgers coming to the plate in the bottom of the first inning against the Montreal Expos, and the man they'll face tonight is 33-year-old Dennis Martinez. Martinez just turned 33 last Saturday on this road trip. He's had a good outing and a bad outing in his last 2. Interesting to see how he responds tonight. To this lineup, the Dodgers rank second to St. Louis in National League hitting with a .260 average. The man who's given the Expos the most trouble the last 2 nights is John Shelby, who's had 3 hits, and that might explain why Montreal's won 2 games. Steve Sachs hasn't had a hit in this series. Davis just 1, Guerrero 2, Marshall 1. Kirk Gibson had a home run and a triple on Tuesday, but he missed last night's game with a stomach disorder. He's back tonight against the man they call El Presidente, Dennis Martinez.
Dennis Martinez, the veteran on the mound, brings a 3-5 record. Last outing against San Diego, he lost 3-2 to Ed Whitson in the Padres. He pitched 7 pretty good innings, gave up 3 earned runs, 7 hits, walking 1 and striking out 2. Now, Dennis, if he's had any problem this year, it's been the home run ball, but a majority of those homers have come with nobody on base. If he has his curveball working tonight and a little bit of a forkball that he's picked up in the last couple of years, Dennis Martinez knows how to pitch, and if he's around the corners, he can be very tough. Defense behind Dennis tonight: Andres Galarraga, Johnny Paredes, Foley, and Tim Wallach. Tom Foley at short around the infield. Tim Raines, Herman Winningham, Ubi Brooks, Jeff Reed, and Dennis Martinez.
Steve Sachs, as I mentioned, is hitless in this series. .266 average for the second baseman for the Los Angeles Dodgers, in to face Dennis Martinez. This is only the second start for Dennis Martinez against the Dodgers. Hey, what a great catch for the ball boy. Pretty casual, tosses it into the stands. Yeah, no problem. Martinez had 1 start in 1986 against the Dodgers, but he didn't face them last year. 0-1 pitch to Sachs, fouled away. 0-2.
Well, one thing Dennis has done over the last few years since I've played with him back in Baltimore, his fastball definitely has more movement on it. He can get it to sink a little bit better. In years past, it was a straight fastball. Although he threw harder in his younger days, he relied basically on the speed to get his strikeouts and get his fastball working. Now, right now, the Dodgers seem to be complaining about the chain around his neck. Feel that it's too distracting, and they're going to make him take it off. Umpire Bob Engel comes out to the mound, and Dennis removes it.
Anything to try and throw a pitcher out of sync? Maybe the sun's shining off it? I don't think so at this time.
Any little bit of an edge that you can get. And you sure that man that you saw right there, Tommy Lasorda, with his ball club struggling against the Expos, is quite a turnaround for Montreal as they came in here losers of 4 games in a row and thinking up against 2 tough pitchers. Valenzuela and Hershiser, they beat both of them. Ooh.
So you don't like my necklace? My chain? Take that. 1-2.
Might be a good time for Dennis's first breaking ball of the night. Well, fastball fouled away. He would have gotten me.
A ball and 2 strikes then to Steve Sachs. The Dodgers behind St. Louis in batting average. Dennis Martinez has given up 8 home runs. 13 of the runs he's given up, or 1/3 of all of the runs he's given up, have been via the home run. The Expos staff, as Martinez gets Sachs, and Sachs will give Bob Engel an argument.
We've had 4 hitters to the plate thus far in the ball game, and all of them have taken the same route back to the dugout. Sachs feels the ball was outside. Home plate umpire Bob Engel. Watch the glove. That'll tell you the story. I'll tell you what, that seemed to be a perfect pitch right on the corner.
They're never perfect when you're the guy going back to the dugout. Orel Hershiser tries to calm Steve Sachs down. Now 0 for 9 in this series. Maybe that's part of the reason he's steamed.
But when a catcher doesn't have to move the glove when he receives a pitch, usually it tells you that it's a strike. And Jeff Reed didn't have to move the glove an inch on that pitch.
Here's the former Oakland Athletic Mike Davis, who came over as a free agent in the offseason. The count is 1-0. It's a strike on the corner. Ball, rather. That's outside. 2-0.
I mentioned on Tuesday night the Dodgers refrained from picking up free agents for quite a while because in the early 80s they got Don Stanhouse from the Orioles and Dave Golds, both pitchers. Golds coming over from the Twins, and neither one of them worked out satisfactorily for the Dodgers. And from then on, they never dwelled into the free agent market again until picking up Kirk Gibson, Don Sutton, this man right here, Mike Davis, and Rick Dempsey. And one more, Danny Heath.
2-2 the count then to Mike Davis.
And all of them have made contributions to this Dodger ball club this year.
Up the middle under the glove of Johnny Paredes, who tried to backhand it at second after it got by Martinez. So much for all the strikeouts. The first base hit goes to Mike Davis. A 1-out single in the bottom of the first.
Appears to be the breaking ball that I was looking for when Sachs is at the plate. There it is. Davis does a nice job, goes out and gets it, strokes it back through the middle, just out of the range of Paredes. That's the kind of hitter likes to see those infielders strain and just miss it by an inch.
Well, that's not a bad pitch. That's a good piece of hitting by Mike Davis to get aboard on a single. And here's Kirk Gibson, who missed last night's game. In fact, didn't even come to the ballpark. They feel he may have had a bit of food poisoning. He was ill, unable to make it to the park, and is back tonight. This will be his first look at Dennis Martinez
this season. He's seen Dennis over in the American League quite a few times when he was with Detroit.
True enough.
Gibson leading the Dodgers in home runs and doubles. Been very effective on the bases too, with 7 steals in 8 attempts. Rare combination of power and speed. Not many players have that. Think of Eric Davis, Dave Winfield. Players that can steal bases and also hit the ball 9 miles. Ooh, changeup.
There was a 9-mile swing, and he was way out in front of it.
The whole idea when throwing to hitters from a pitcher standpoint is to keep them off balance. That pitch certainly had Gibson well out in front. If you can keep a hitter guessing where he can't really dig in and look for one pitch and keep him in between, get a lot of pop-ups and ground-outs and certainly a few swings and misses.
What'll he come back with?
You got me. If I was hitting, I'd be in trouble right now. Looks like the target's going to be inside. That's an indication it's going to be a fastball or something hard. You don't throw very many slow pitches on the inner half of the plate. Watch the glove of Jeff Reed when he sets up. Looks like fastball in.
Setting up inside.
And there it is.
2 balls and a strike as Martinez misses. Now, with Martinez having given up the most home runs on the Expos staff, and in fact the Expos staff having given up the most in the league at 38, you would think it might be a field day for the Dodgers and all their big hitters, but their big hitters haven't hit that many home runs. As a team, LA has hit just 20. Only 2 teams in the league with fewer, as Martinez throws over to first and Davis is back. So the guns really haven't started to sound yet for the Dodgers.
As far as the home run ball is concerned, but they've been getting key hits this year, driving in runners that get in scoring position.
2-1 on the ground, foul to Galarraga.
Mike Davis returning to first base. He's a stolen base threat. 3 steals this year without being caught, but at the moment with left-handed Kirk Gibson hitting, you can see that big hole with Galarraga holding him off. Gibson try and pull a ball through that hole. I always look for a breaking ball so I can just jerk it through that hole, and that's what it's there for. You can advance a speedy runner like Davis all the way to third with 1 out.
Two and 2 pitch. Outside and fouled away.
Manager Buck Rogers, got to give Buck credit. Made severe changes in the lineups the last couple of nights, and it's worked pretty well. The Expos have come in here, faced 2 tough pitchers, and come up with victories in each ball game. Maybe a little shakeup was what the team needed. Breaking ball is fly down the left field line. It's going to be in foul territory, but too far for Tim Wallach.
You mentioned Kirk Gibson facing Dennis Martinez in the American League. He faced him and did pretty well against him. He's 11 for 33 lifetime against Dennis. That's a .333 average. Right now, standing in with a count of 2-2 as Tim Wallach is back to his position. But Martinez has never surrendered a home run to the long-hitting Gibson. Got some hits, but he hasn't taken him long.
That's unusual in a place like Dodger Stadium. Runners on the move.
Gibson hit it just where he wanted to, pulling it down into right field. Davis on the move, gets all the way to third. Now he takes off from third, and Wallach is going to cut off that ball as it squirted through the infield by the cutoff man. So the Dodgers, with 1 out, have a pair of hits. And runners at first and third.
Remember the breaking ball I was talking about to try and pull through the hole? There it is. And Gibson jerks it right down the line in right field. But Davis was on the move, but was kind of blocked. Didn't know where the ball was. He hesitated once he got to second, but still was able to make it to third when he picked up third base coach Joey Amalfitano. So Gibson's being able to pull that ball to right field, advances Davis to third with 1 out. That'll bring up a tough RBI man, maybe the toughest of all the Dodgers in this situation, Pedro Guerrero.
Guerrero is 2 for 7 in this series. With 1 out, a sacrifice fly will bring in a run. Dodgers threatening in the bottom of the first against the Montreal Expos. Last night, they didn't score a run. The night before, got 5 and had the lead twice, including 3-2 after the first. A pickoff attempt, and they get it. A trick play the Expos have used a few times this season. Martinez fakes to first, spins around, and gets the man at third. And the key is he does step off before he goes to first, so he doesn't have to throw to first.
Now this play is called by third baseman Tim Wallach, and he calls it, and it's worked a couple of times now. The key is Wallach thinking he has a man at third that's an aggressive base runner that they can pick off. And Dennis Martinez worked the play to perfection, and the Expos now have 2 outs and a man at first.
Tim Burke has tried it twice and it's worked. Now Martinez makes it work. It's a play that Wallach actually invented in spring training.
Now watch his right foot. He has to step off, as Jim mentioned, before he makes the plays. Fakes, and then whips it around to third base. And Tim Wallach, the man who calls the play, and the call is by Charlie Williams at third. An unsuspecting Mike Davis is now in the dugout.
And there's 2 out, and there's no runner in scoring position. What a handy play. Runner is going. Reed with the throw off the bag. And Gibson is safe with a stolen base, number 8 on the season.
Jeff Reed with a throw that was just to the left field side of second base, but Gibson had a very good jump on Martinez. Very little that Reed could do in that instance.
So now there's a runner in scoring position again for Pedro Guerrero. The count is 1-1. Gibson at second base. Ball 2.
Guerrero hitting .341, which is second in the league to Rafael Palmeiro of the Cubs. Pedro, very consistent hitter over the years. Last year he only went 3 consecutive games, 1 time during the season without a hit. So you can see he hits just about everybody day in and day out. Right down on the end of that bat.
Guerrero is 31 years old. His lifetime average is .325 against the Expos. Dennis took something off that one. A change-up, and the count is 2-2.
When a hitter is ahead on the count, 2-1, 2-0, 3-1, become very aggressive. And if a pitcher has a good change-up and can get it over the plate, the hitter is thinking long ball or hitting something very hard. It makes it look like a fastball, but you're way out in front, and you take some of the more foolish swings you'll ever see.
Well, Martinez changeup seems to be working well tonight. Fouled off, as is evidenced by the sore shoulders for Gibson and Guerrero.
I mentioned when to throw a changeup. I've never seen pitchers throw change. I very rarely, let's say never say never, but very rarely throw one to the first pitch to a hitter because he has nothing else to base it on. And when you throw him a changeup in the first pitch, it's the first pitch he's going to see. That's the timing he has right then and there. So if he hasn't seen a fastball or a breaking ball, you don't want to throw him a change. That looked like either a changeup or a fastball. It was hard to tell the way Guerrero swung at it.
He missed, and Dennis Martinez has his second strikeout.
Let's watch the pitch. Appears to be another changeup as Guerrero is well out in front, and he's gone.
Interesting inning. The Dodgers leave one. Martinez and Wallach team up to pick off a runner in scoring position. Mike Davis at third, and the Dodgers failed to score in the first. No score after 1. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. So Dennis Martinez gave up a couple of hits, and he and Tim Wallach engage in a little sleight of hand, or is that sleight of foot, to get Mike Davis picked off third. Here it is again. Runner in scoring position on third, another on first, stepped off, whirled around, and picked off Davis at third. It's a play you better make work when you use it, because you only get 1 chance in a game to use it. Maybe 1 chance a series, Ken.
We take a look at the scores today in the National League. St. Louis 5-1 over Chicago. New York Mets still rolling along 9-4 over the San Diego Padres.
So the Mets find themselves 9 games up on the Montreal Expos. The 5th place Expos coming into this game having swept in San Diego all 4 games. There's a ground ball and a base hit for Hubie Brooks, his third of this series, and the first hit off of Tim Leary, who struck out the side in the first inning.
Getting back to that pickoff play for a moment as we look at Hubie Brooks on first base. You were mentioning that you can use that play once a series, but it does get around the league that you have a play like that, and the other teams, it's something you won't be able to use after the All-Star break. Almost everybody will be shortened up at third base expecting that play.
But then again, maybe there's always a runner who will fall asleep on third base at some time.
Then it falls on the third base coach to let him know that the Expos do have this particular play that they use, and certain pitchers use it very well, a Tim Burke or a Dennis Martinez.
I mean, how old is the hidden ball trick? And it still works every once in a while. Have to really pick your spot. And the Expos picked a good one with a runner in scoring position on third base in the first. Tim Leary facing Andres Galarraga. 4 for 8, 500 in this series with 2 runs scored, 3 runs batted in. Third in the league behind Palmeiro and Guerrero in batting. 3 of the league's top 5 hitters in the game tonight. 0-1 pitch to Galarraga. A rope into left field. Gibson takes it on the hop, throws the ball in to Griffin, and Galarraga continues to hold the hot hand, and the Expos have runners on first and second with nobody out in the second.
Andres Galarraga, last year he had a very good year hitting over 300, but this year he's pulling the ball a lot better, and that's because his thumb, the one that was injured primarily throughout the season last year, has really come around. It's able him to drive the ball to left field and really spray the ball around the park with power. Hit his home run to the opposite field last night.
That's the 50th hit of the season for Galarraga. He's one behind Barry Larkin of Cincinnati in that department. 1-0 to Jeff Reed, who catches tonight. Nelson Santavena did such a great job on Tuesday night that he got a start against a right-hander last night. Another right-hander tonight, and Jeff Reed in to catch. Runner's on his way. The throw to Guerrero. Not in time. Hubie Brooks is safe at third base. The ball seemed to be there in time, but the tag wasn't.
Looked like a bunt and run play. If Reed is able to get the ball down, Guerrero was late getting to the bag. As you can see, he's still moving as the throw is approaching third. That enables Hubie Brooks to sneak in the back door and slide on the left field side of third base. See the right foot? Guerrero on the move, taking the tag.
Galarraga got to second, so on a play where Brooks should have been hung out to dry, the Expos move up the runners, and it doesn't cost them an out.
Goes as a double steal. Hubie Brooks picking up his 4th steal of the year, and for Galarraga, his 6th.
That looked like the old Dodger infield. I mean, old as in recent years.
So Tim Leary now talk it over with Mike Scioscia. Finds himself in a hole with runners at second and third, and still nobody out for the Expos here in the second inning. Leary, the former academic All-American, maybe smart enough to get himself out of this jam.
Brooks is on third, Galarraga on second, and the batter Reed is 7 for 14 this year with runners in scoring position, and even 500. And a chance to put the Expos in the lead here with a count 2-1 from Tim Leary. Who struck out the side in the first inning but doesn't have an out here. Reed pops the ball up in foul territory and into the stands. The count is even at 2-2.
Leary last year was 3-11 for the Dodgers, but I think what impressed the Dodgers was his winter ball success in the Mexican League. He was 9-0 with an earned run average well under 2.
Like really well under 1.24.
I mean, it's not the big leagues, but it's still impressive. He came to spring training with a chance to break into the rotation, and here he is. Breaking ball goes low, and the count is full.
Leary didn't start many games last year, only 12 for the Dodgers. 2-8 as a starter. Out of the bullpen, the Dodgers were 5-22 in the games that he relieved in. So he had to have some great stats in winter ball to get a shot at making the team after a season that wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination. The 3-2 pitch to Jeff Reed inside, and he pulls it foul straight behind him.
Well, the Dodgers were in search of that elusive 4th and 5th starter last year with Valenzuela, Hershiser, and Welsh being the big three. In fact, the team played over 500 ball with those three pitching. When anybody else started, they won just 31% of the time. This year they went out and got a Don Sutton, and hopeful that Tim Leary can fit into the rotation.
3-2 pitch to Reed. He struck him out. 4th strikeout for Leary.
Nothing fancy about the pitch. It was just a straight fastball in a good location, down and in. Reed gives up on it. Good pitch. Knee high on the inner corner.
Now Johnny Paredes, who now has 10 runs batted in on the season, and since he's moved down from 2nd in the order, has found a way to drive runs in, is at the plate with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Bouncer back to Leary. He'll go for Brooks and gets him. Scioscia tags Brooks, and now runners at 1st and 3rd with 2 out as Paredes gains 1st on the fielder's choice.
Tim Leary bounces off the mound, has plenty of time to get Ubi Brooks. Ubi doesn't even slide, trying to dislodge the ball from the glove of Mike Scioscia via the football route, but doesn't work. Here's a look at it again. Leary with a nice touch, perfect throw. The Expos in a good situation with runners at 2nd and 3rd, nobody out to start the inning off. Find themselves 1st and 3rd and 2 outs.
And now the batter is Tom Foley. Strike 1. The Expos have gone through this win one, lose one early part of the season, and particularly in their slump of recent days before this series. Part of the problem was hitting with runners in scoring position, getting clutch hits. They just weren't doing it. This series they've improved upon that, but tonight in the 2nd inning with a chance to go ahead, they're now down to 2 outs. And a runner still standing out on 3rd. They've yet to bring one in. 0-1 to Foley. 0-2 swinging.
Foley in a platoon situation with Luis Rivera.
Hitting .207 with runners in scoring position. 6 for 29. This is his 30th opportunity. Paredes chased back to first base. Andres Galarraga at 3rd. Paredes is on his way from 1st. Foley fouls this one into the seats.
I was going to say it's a good time to put the runner in motion. No balls and 2 strikes. Maybe the Expos could steal a run if Scioscia throws down to 2nd. Maybe they won't get such a perfect throw, and Galarraga would be able to score from 3rd. Even if Paredes is thrown out, you'd have Foley leading off next inning instead of the pitcher.
0-2. Runner's not going this time. Foley's not going for the pitch from Leary. 1-2. Leary glances over at Paredes. He's not going, and the pitch is inside. Now Paredes is hung up. They'll throw down to 3rd to try and get Galarraga. They don't get him, and Paredes gets to 2nd. Looked like a delayed steal by Paredes, trying to get Socha to throw it.
That was the idea, to get Socha to throw the ball down to second base. Here's a look at it again. Mike Socha sees Paredes going, fakes to second, which is the key, and now almost picks Galarraga off third. Andres is able to sneak in with that right hand. And now Ron Peronowski, the pitching coach, is talking to Leary about the possibility of being very careful with Tom Foley at the plate, with Dennis Martinez, the hitter in the on-deck circle.
It'll be a stolen base for Paredes, his third of the season. He wasn't going when the pitch came at all, and then he started off late. Runners are at second and third, 2 out, and the count is 2-2. Top of the second. Inside ball 3. Leary was ahead of Foley at 0-2, and now he's in danger of losing him at 3-2.
Different situation with a base open and pitcher on deck.
Yeah.
Trials and tribulations of an 8th place hitter.
Needless to say, he shouldn't get anything to hit.
I didn't think he'd get a fastball, that's for sure.
Ground ball to Marshall. At least, needless to say, he's out. So the Expos squander a great opportunity in the top of the second. They got runners at second and third with nobody out, couldn't bring them home, and the game is still scoreless. At the bottom of the second, this is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Mike Marshall will be the leadoff man for the Dodgers in the bottom of the second. Marshall missed 58 games last year, but he's played every game this year. But it hasn't come easy with that bad back. He's had to work hard.
Each day I get here about 3:30 during the day, and I have to work very hard on my back. The back has really been the problem the last couple of years. When the back goes, I think everything goes. I haven't been able to swing very well, so I come early and the trainers work on it, and I have some exercises to strengthen it. But like you said, nothing comes easy. I have to work on it each day, and hopefully I'll strengthen it to the point where I can just come out and play every day.
Mike Marshall will be followed by John Shelby and Mike Socha. Marshall had a 12-game hitting streak snapped by the Montreal Expos last night.
Despite missing all those games last season, he only played in 104 games. He still drove in 72 runs for the Dodgers and had 16 homers, so you can see he's a vital cog in their offensive attack. And any time that he's out, or Pedro Guerrero, or any other injured players that the Dodgers have had over the last couple of years, which has been an awesome total of games lost to the disabled list, they need Mike Marshall and the others to be successful.
Around the American League today, Seattle and New York rained out. Cleveland over the Chicago White Sox, 1-0. California came back to beat Baltimore after losing yesterday 2-1. Kansas City whips Minnesota 14-1. Here, the Expos and the Dodgers are scoreless. Both teams have put runners as far as third base and haven't been able to bring them home. Mike Marshall to face Dennis Martinez. A base hit for Marshall, the third hit off of Martinez, and the leadoff man's aboard for the Dodgers in the bottom of the second.
Now, all 3 of the hits off Dennis Martinez have come on his breaking ball. Mike Davis singled on a curveball. So did Kirk Gibson in the first inning, and Mike Marshall picks on one that's about belt high and lines it through the hole into left field for a base hit. So Martinez in the early stages of the game is having problems keeping his curveball down, and that's one of his major weapons. He's had a very sharp curveball, and when it works well, it's one of the best in baseball.
Here's John Shelby, who has 3 hits in this series against the Expos. The switch hitter batting from the left-hand side against the right-handed pitcher Martinez. Shelby's a .258 hitter from the left side.
Former teammate of Martinez's for many years with the Orioles. Problem that Shelby has had over the years, maybe his inconsistent play, not being able to hold on to a steady job with the Orioles, but also I think his strikeouts have really total over the years have been too high, and that's one reason he has lacked the inconsistency as a hitter.
This is the first time Shelby's ever batted against Dennis Martinez. There's a pitch out. Marshall is going nowhere. 2-1. Although he's pretty familiar, as you pointed out, with the way Dennis pitches. Paying a lot of attention to Marshall, who doesn't have the stolen base and doesn't seem like he'd be much of a threat. Unless he was going to take the ball straight up the middle as a fullback.
Last time Marshall stole a base was in 1986. Ground ball, nice play by Paredes over to second for one. And they're going to call the double play. And Tommy Lasorda is going to be out of the dugout on this. Mike Marshall is called out by Joe West at second for interfering with Tom Foley. You have to be within a body's length of the bag on your slide into second base. If not, the umpire can call interference and call the runner out going to first, and that's what Joe West did, and this is what has caused the argument.
Now, this is very seldom called. More often than not, they get away with this, and people say what a great play by the lead runner in breaking up the double play. Now watch Marshall.
Ground ball towards Paredes. He has to go a long way to get it, and enables Marshall to get down on Tom Foley at second base. It's very close. Foley has the ball, is away from the bag, and Marshall, looking more like football than baseball, and he actually reached out to grab Tom Foley, and Joe West has made the call, and Tommy Lasorda, now watch his hand. When he reaches, Joe West makes the call.
You can't do that. That's a good call by Joe West. There's little doubt that he was well away from the bag, and that it indeed was interference by Marshall.
I believe if he doesn't reach with the hand, because Paredes had such a long way to go to get to the ball, and Marshall had plenty of time to get down at second and break up the double play. If he doesn't reach, Foley was not going to make that throw at all anyway. He wasn't going to throw the ball.
He gets the favorable call if he doesn't nick the knee of Foley with the arm. Lasorda has made his point, to no avail, of course. So there's 2 out and nobody aboard, and this inning changes complexion considerably for Dennis Martinez as he faces Mike Scioscia.
You can bet Lasorda is telling his men, when they go in there and anybody comes close to them tonight at second base, make sure you turn to Joe West.
Squawk loud and clear. 0-1 is outside to Scioscia. 1-1. It's been an interesting night already. Some plays you don't see every day.
Pick off at third, interference call at second. Stick around, folks. This is only the bottom of the second.
1 and 2, and both plays have helped out Dennis Martinez. The outing previous to the one you talked about in San Diego, his last performance of 7 innings, was in Atlanta, and he didn't make it out of the 4th. He didn't have anything. His curveball seemed straight. There's a ground ball for Paredes. He gets it over to Galarraga. And the Dodgers are gone in the bottom of the 2nd, thanks to another, shall we say, interesting call and an interesting play. Mike Marshall on first. The ball is hit on the ground. He tries to break up the double play. He ends up throwing a block at Tom Foley. Interference is called. The double play is given to the Expos. As a result, the Dodgers don't score. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. The coaches for the Montreal Expos, Jackie Moore is at third, Bobby Winkles at first base, in conversation with Paul Runge.
Good look at the San Gabriel Mountains off in the distance beyond the center field fence here at Dodger Stadium. And
a San Cessna in the distance.
If there weren't enough traffic in the area, that's the easy way to go around Los Angeles.
checking for great white sharks, I'm sure, as he flies down the coastline. Dodgers and their fans getting set for a big weekend series against the Mets, hoping that their Dodgers are in first place when they meet the Mets, the first place team from the East. Already one of those 3 games is sold out.
You mentioned sharks. Wasn't there a shark scare the other day at Newport Beach that they had the bathers come in out of the water? Spotted a shark offshore.
And they spotted a great white, I think.
Of course, there's plenty to do once you hit the beach at Newport Beach, so
you don't have to get in the water. Dennis Martinez leading off. You'd think coming over from the American League he'd be an automatic out, but this man is 5 for 18, has a .278 average, flailing away at the plate. And he hits the ball on the ground. This time, though, to Pedro Guerrero, who flips it over to first and gets Dennis Martinez. Bit of a casual throw that may have given him trouble had the runner been someone else but Dennis.
Dennis hit that ball pretty well. I am not going to say anything about his hitting. Anytime you're sporting a .278 average and making solid contact as he has been, at least once or twice a ball game, he's improved.
Herm Winningham was one of 3 Expos to strike out against Tim Leary in the first inning. And he's back up for the second time in the third. No score in the ball game. Strike 1.
Winningham in limited play is among the Expo leaders in infield hits. He's had 4 infield hits this year. That ties him with Webster, Tim Raines, and Johnny Paredes for the club lead.
Similar pitch, this time laid off, 1-1. Winningham's on base percentage .429. That's very good. Of course, this is in a limited number of at-bats, but if he could keep his on base percentage around 40%, he'd find himself a regular leadoff spot. 2-1 pitch hit on the ground for the shortstop Alfredo Griffin, and there's 2 away. That brings up Tim Wallach. Wallach hit his first home run since the 19th of April last night, his 3rd of the year. He was 1-20 lifetime against Alejandro Pena, coming to bat in the 8th inning.
Well, it was a changeup that he got up 1-2, and really I was kind of surprised he threw that pitch because it's really probably his 3rd best pitch. But I think the last hit I got off him was in 1982, and it was probably the only other hit I've ever had off him.
Now he's got a hit off of Tim Leary, a 2-out single into right field by Tim Wallach, a good sign as he goes the other way, and the Expos have a man aboard. That's the 3rd hit off of Leary.
You said a good sign at Wallach hitting the ball the other way. Last night he pulls the home run to left field on an off-speed pitch. This time a fastball out over the plate. It's when you're starting to find your stroke, using the whole field, as he did last year quite successfully when he drove in 123 runs.
Tim Raines comes to the plate. This whole business of Tim being a free agent raised its head again in the newspapers in Los Angeles today. Of course, they're expecting a judge's decision probably in June from Judge George Nicolau. He's the man who made Kirk Gibson a free agent, and he moved over to the Dodgers. Raines and the other 86 free agents could become free again at the end of this season when a ruling comes down in June. It's got to be very much on the minds of the Expos and Raines. Gibson did all right via the free agent route.
It's interesting you said at the end of the season. Now, I've talked to people in the Players Association. They say when the ruling comes down, the players should be free to go the next day. Raines lines one into left field for a base hit.
So a 2-out base hit, runners at first and second. Raines says he'd be really surprised if they made them free agents immediately. He said he thinks it'd be unfair to the players who would suddenly have to decide whether they want to be without a team right away.
Pitch out over the plate, and Raines, who Had his average up to 298 before the trip, kind of slumped off, but he's come alive here again in Los Angeles.
Raines continues to make the point that he just as soon stay with Montreal. His agent, in fact, will visit Montreal next week, and there will be some discussions in preparation for what may be a negative ruling as far as the Expos are concerned. The team, he'd just as soon stay in Montreal, he says. But he doesn't rule out the possibility of playing anywhere else. He was asked the question by a newspaper reporter, would he like to play in LA? And he said yes, and of course that ended up in the headline. He said, but there are a few other places I'd like to play too. It's not that I didn't start it, he did. 1-1 to Hubie Brooks with 2 away.
Hubie hitting .326 with runners in scoring position, finds Tim Wallach out at second base in a scoreless ball game here in the top half of the third.
Brooks hits it in the air to left field. Gibson's going back almost to the track and makes a one-handed catch. And the Expos are gone in the third. So they start a 2-out rally. Singles by Wallach and Raines. And then a fly ball off the fists of Hubie Brooks to left field. Hauled in by Gibson. Raines and Wallach are stranded aboard, and Leary is out of the third. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Here's your chance to go out and see the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Montreal Expos and listen to the game at the same time. The Coke CKAC Radio Day coming up on Sunday, May the 29th, after the Expos finish this road trip and go home to face the Dodgers 1:35. And your chance to go out and see the Expos if you're in the Montreal area and get a radio to listen to the game as well. No score, Montreal and the Dodgers to the bottom of the third inning. Both teams have had runners in scoring position. Neither has been able to bring a run across. Griffin, Leary, and Sachs, bottom of the order, with Sachs at the top of the order to face Dennis Martinez.
So on Radio Day, Expo fans at the ballpark get a chance to listen to Jacques Doucette and Roger Brulot on the French side, and of course Dave Van Horn and Jim Fanning in English.
The coaches for the Dodgers. Manny Mota signed his first contract with San Francisco in 1962, and he got a ticket out of the ghettos of the Dominican Republic and $400 to move to the major leagues. Joe Amalfitano was a manager for parts of 3 seasons with the Chicago Cubs. They're on the base paths for the Dodgers.
Alfredo Griffin leads off in the bottom half of the third for the Dodgers, and I think one of the things that Tommy Lasorda touched on with me before the game, the players that the Dodgers have acquired in the offseason, there were a number of them. Alfredo Griffin really has done a good job in the infield. As you can see, he hasn't hit well at 162, but the 19 RBIs, very impressive for that low an average. But also, Griffin has been known over the years with the various ball clubs throughout the American League for his ability to not stabilize infield so much, but also stabilize clubhouses. Very well liked by his teammates.
He was extremely well liked in Toronto, where he was a Rookie of the Year one year and played so well with the Blue Jays. But they had Tony Fernandez on the way and felt he was expendable. Packaged him with Dave Collins in the deal that sent Bill Cottle to Toronto. I think they'd like to have that one to do again in that overused expression.
Well, count goes to 1-2 as he tried to fake a bunt and slap a hit past Tim Wallach at third. But you have to have players like Griffin in your clubhouse. It's a long, long season. A lot of things can go wrong. As you see, Wallach now drops back with 2 strikes. And you have a calming influence, a player like Alfredo Griffin. And he's the type of player, when his playing days are done, you might see him as a coach for a major league team, maybe a future manager one day.
2-2 the count from Dennis Martinez. Griffin on the ground for Paredes. So the Nicaraguan pitches to the Dominican, who hits it on the ground to the Venezuelan, who throws over to another Venezuelan. and the Dominican's gone.
Si. Si, senor.
The Labatt player of the game for the Expos tonight will receive his hand-carved Inuit sculpture presented by H.H. Brown, makers of Walkabouts, Canada's new lightweight walking shoes for men. With padded comfort and unique airflow sole, walk a more comfortable mile in Walkabouts by H.H. Brown.
Tim Leary, the hitter, and I use that word
wisely.
Exactly.
Raines throws the ball in. Leary on his face slides into second base with a double. That's the 5th hit in 9 at-bats for Tim Leary this season.
Leary hit .304 last season for the Dodgers, 7 for 23. He knows what he's doing up there, doesn't he?
That really helps in the National League when a pitcher can swing the bat. Instead of having an automatic out in the number 9 spot, you've got a guy you have to actually think about pitching to. So Steve Sachs is up with a runner in scoring position. No score in the game. Bottom of the 3rd inning. 1 away. Sachs struck out in the 1st and didn't like it.
Sachs has been hot of late, has 20 hits in his last 51 at-bats coming into tonight's game, and that's a .392 pace, which has brought his average all the way up to .266. So he was struggling before this recent hot streak.
Although he's now gone 0 for this series, which has slowed his progress a little bit. Reed blocks the bouncing ball from Martinez. 1-1.
With 1 out, Jeff Reed makes a good play here. Leary is still stationed at second base, not able to advance. Curveball in the dirt. You saw him on the crossover get his chest in front of the ball. Nice play by Reed. A pickoff attempt by Martinez a little late. Is Leary ahead of the tag at second.
Good guy to try that play against. Leary doesn't get on the base paths that much, although he hits his way aboard. Sachs got a piece of that. 1-2. Steve Sachs was a designated hitter at times in the minor leagues as he came up in the Dodgers system. Had to work exceptionally hard to become an infielder. Hit on the ground to Paredes, who's been a busy man already tonight. The throw over to Galarraga at first. Sachs is gone. He advances the runner. Leary is at third base. No score in the ball game. 2 away. And once again, the Dodgers have a man on third. The second time they put a runner there. The Expos have had a runner on third and been unable to score either.
Glad to bring up Mike Davis. Singled on a curveball just by the outstretched glove of Paredes in the 1st inning. Davis, another Dodger hitter who's been swinging well of late. 16 for his last 50.
Outside, ball 1.
We could make that 17 for 51 with that hit in the 1st inning.
A single, and he was the man picked off third in the trick play by the Expos. Ball 2, 2-0. Davis, 28 years old, from San Diego. Leary standing on third, or taking his lead off of it. 2-0 pitch. Strike 1 called. 2-1. Kirk Gibson would love to get up here and have a chance to drive in a run. Right in front of home plate. Reed out to pick it up. Throws out Davis. And once again, the Dodgers will strand a runner. Second tonight. This time they strand the pitcher at third base. So the double by Leary goes for naught. He's stranded on third. Still no score in this game as the Expos come up to face Tim Leary in the top of the fourth, and the sun goes down on the West Coast. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. From the west coast of the United States, Los Angeles, California, and Chavez Ravine to be exact, the Dodgers and the Expos are scoreless to the top of the fourth inning. Andres Galarraga, Jeff Reed, and Johnny Paredes up against Tim Leary.
Now you see the guy in the picture with the brown coat right there?
Ah, yes.
That's Ken Landreau, former Dodger, former Minnesota Twin, right now a free agent looking for a job.
Getting a big hand from the woman next to him.
Yes, for all those pinch hits that he got in the Dodger uniform. Saw him the other day say he was trying to stay in shape, looking for a job somewhere in baseball.
Said he had hoped to get on with, was it Oakland?
The Angels. The
Angels, that's right, and had said he was willing to go to the minors, but then they weren't interested. So he sits and he waits.
I think Mike Port, the general manager of the Angels, told him that their #1 need was a pitcher at the moment.
Andres Galarraga singled and stole a base, was stranded aboard in the second. The Expos put 2 on. Nobody out, got them on second and third and couldn't get them in. Back to Leary on the mound, and Galarraga's gone. Toronto Blue Jays against the Milwaukee Brewers. The next time on TSN will be Saturday, May the 21st, 8:30 Eastern. Fergie Oliver and Buck Martinez will bring you all the action. The Blue Jays struggle along and try and get it together. Jeff Reed is the batter here in a scoreless game between the Expos and the Dodgers in the top of the fourth inning. Reed now sporting the glasses. The average is up this year at .279. Although he's had some trouble lately. 5 for 20 in the last 10 games. The catchers combined for the Expos are now hitting .275. And that's not bad. That's Reed and Santavania. Two balls and a strike, 1 away. Tim Leary's given up 4 hits. Nary a run, fouls it away. Leary was drafted by the Mets out of UCLA in 1979. He was the second player taken overall. Al Chambers was the #1 pick by the Seattle Mariners. He belongs in a Where Are They Now column somewhere. The 10th man taken in that draft was Tim Wallet out of Cal State Fullerton. Leary jumped right over a AAA ball, got to the majors in a hurry, and played 23 games with the Mets before he was traded to Milwaukee.
Complicated 6-player, 4-team deal. Look at Pascual Perez, the man with the injured digit.
And the ice cream bar. Jeff Reed is struck out by Tim Leary. Strikeout number 5.
Now, just as he did in the second inning, Reed takes a fastball over the inside corner for call, strike 3. The pitch freezes him, and there's the call by Bob Engel. Same pitch, same result.
Well, on Monday night, it seemed that both teams had to get 2 outs before they would start to rally. Let's see if the Expos can do it here. They got 2 hits with 2 out in the last inning. Won't work here. Johnny Paredes hits the first pitch on the ground. Alfredo Griffin throws him out, and Tim Leary has his second 1-2-3 inning as he gets the Expos in order in the 4th. The Dodgers and the Expos scoreless. Middle of the 4th. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN, man. This broadcast is presented by authority of the Montreal Baseball Club Limited and may not be rebroadcast in any form without the express written consent of the Montreal Baseball Club Limited. You're watching TSN, the sports network. We're live from Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers and the Expos are scoreless in the bottom of the 4th inning. Well, that's not a Dodger jersey, is it?
It's not Wayne Gretzky either.
But it is an Oiler uniform. Oilers are up 1-0 over the Boston Bruins. They'll play game 2 tomorrow night. Lots of hockey fans around here. Biggest one on the Expos is Tim Burke, who's let it be known publicly that he is available to take the head coaching job with the Canadiens.
I think there's more experience needed for that job.
Maybe. Reaction in this stadium. The boos are for a score that's gone up on the Diamond Vision. Utah Jazz are in front of the Lakers 41-20. But it's obviously early. Guys out in the bullpen. Wonder what they're talking about at this point in the game.
Probably that score you just saw on the scoreboard. Yeah. Bullpen can be an unusual place. I've been told. Didn't get to spend much time out there. In fact, maybe a total of 5 minutes in 14 years.
Monday night when Neil Heaton pitched, or Tuesday night here against Valenzuela, they only used one reliever, but the phone rang in the bullpen about 15 times because of the different situations that presented themselves. Kirk Gibson is up and has a leadoff single in the bottom of the 4th. The Dodgers put the leadoff man aboard for the 2nd time in the game.
Gibson's 2nd hit of the night, and only an alert play by Herm Winningham on a squibbing bounce.
Ooh, that's why they have a big glove.
It's interesting, you talk about Herman's big glove. During practice, he uses a smaller glove, and he says that teaches him to reach for the ball when he's making a catch, and it makes it easier to catch with that big outfielder's mitt. So he uses an infielder's glove during practice.
Gibson a threat to steal on first base. Batter is Pedro Guerrero. Foul ball, strike 1.
So that's a tip for you aspiring outfielders.
Get 2 gloves.
Use a smaller one for practice. And makes you bend over when you're reaching for ground balls. In the game, you'll still bend over as much, but you have a bigger glove to work with.
Guerrero's 0 for 1. He struck out in the 1st inning. Gibson has a stolen base tonight. Dodgers have only stolen 26 bases this season. I say only because they've added an average of 81 stolen bases a season with the addition of Gibson, Griffin, and Davis. They've been caught stealing 10 times. Pitch out. Gibson's going nowhere. Now the Expos have only thrown out 24% of those trying to steal, but Jeff Reed is 33%, and that's very good. You remember early last season in Chicago, Reed went out to help out Andy McGaffigan on the mound when Sean Dunston charged the mound. He hurt his shoulder, and he wasn't right for the rest of the season. The Expo catchers threw out only 18% of the thieves. There's a throw over that bounces away, and Gibson will head off to second base. Chasing after it is Galarraga. Gibson is around second on his way to third, and he'll hold up there as the throw comes into Foley.
Gibson with his lead as Martinez attempts to hold him close. The throw is in the dirt, so this will be an error on Martinez. Of course, Gibson with the good speed will race all the way over to third base. Here's another angle. Throw goes in between the legs of Gibson. Watch him turn it on. He can really move.
Tommy Lasorda has a runner on third again. Nobody out. Even at that, Galarraga almost came up with that ball. Dodgers a runner on third, nobody out, threatening to score the first run of this game.
And those are the types of things you don't want to happen in a close ball game. Eventually, your opposition is going to cash in if you're going to make mistakes. That's the first error of the ball game. Those tight one-run games, you need to play equally tight defense.
3-1 pitch. Guerrero hits it in the air. This will be medium center field. Winningham makes the catch. Gibson's on the way. The throw is up the line, won't be in time. And even if that throw had been right on the money, Gibson probably would have made it. It's 1-0 Dodgers on the sacrifice fly for Pedro Guerrero, who collects RBI number 26.
Now with Gibson at third base, Winningham was going to have to make a perfect throw. And even so, this ball was only medium deep center field. Gibson scores easily. Throw was a little bit up the line. See Gibson crossing home plate with no problems.
So the Dodgers score first thanks to a base hit, a two-base error by Dennis Martinez, and a sacrifice fly by Pedro Guerrero. There's one away from Mike Marshall, who hits this hard to left field. Raines is back, but the ball is gone. Home run for Marshall, 2-0 Dodgers. Home run number 6 for Mike Marshall, the 9th surrendered by Dennis Martinez, and the Dodgers are up 2-0.
If you're going to come inside with a fastball, you better have something on it, especially to the big, strong hitters. His fastball wasn't Martinez's best. Marshall got his arms extended, and you can see the results. The Dodgers lead 2-0. Good catch by the kid on top of the wall.
RBI number 26 for Marshall, who immediately catches up to Pedro Guerrero, and they stay tied for the team lead. And here's John Shelby with one away, and the base is clear. Another base hit off of Martinez. The third hit of the inning. And the 7th hit of the game.
T-Bone Shelby was out early working with Manny Mota, the hitting coach. Shelby's been out for 3 weeks with a strained stomach muscle. So he's really just getting back into hitting form. When he came over to the Dodgers last May, Shelby was an offensive force in their lineup as well as a good defensive player. Talking about good defense, Mike Scioscia at the plate. And Scioscia's also been swinging the bat. Came in with a .330 batting average. Shelby with a pretty good lead at first.
Just one away. Shelby's on his way. Hit by Scioscia down the left field line. Raines is up with the ball. Shelby standing up into third. Scioscia's on first. The 8th hit off of Dennis Martinez. The Dodgers have runners on the corners with just one out. Nice bit of hitting by Scioscia.
Scioscia, good contact hitter. As Larry Bernard comes to the mound. Just strokes the ball into left field. With Shelby in motion, he reaches third base easily. As the Dodgers have come alive here in the 4th inning, scoring 2 runs and threatening to score more against the Expos. And now pitching coach Larry Bernard coming to the mound. Andy McGaffigan heating up in a hurry in the Expo bullpen.
So the conversation on the basketball game is cut short as the phone rings and some action is needed. McGaffigan is warming up. Bernard buys some time. The last 3 Dodgers have swung at the first pitch. Marshall hit it out of the park. Shelby hit a single to center. Scioscia hit a single to left field. Martinez will face Alfredo Griffin with runners on first and third and one out. Griffin grounded out in the third. Pitch out. Reed chases Shelby back.
You can bet Joey Amalfitano has warned Shelby about that play, but the Expos, Tim Wallach is off the line and in close with Griffin at the plate, a good bunter. But here's where Griffin has been very successful this year with runners on base. Although he's hitting only 162, he's had 19 runs batted in, which places him up there with the Dodger leaders.
Two and 0. Wallach's on the grass, as you see.
The rest, I was going to say the rest of the infield in double play depth.
Galarraga on first with Scioscia. Dodgers 2 runs on 8 hits. The Expos no runs on 4. Inside 3-0, and Dennis is in danger of loading him up. Pitcher Tim Leary, who's no slouch with the bat, is up next. Infielders are coming in onto the grass. Alfredo Griffin fouls one back.
Alfredo swinging at 3-0. Tommy Lasorda giving him the green light, and it's a pretty good call with the pitcher up next and runners in scoring position. Take advantage of a batter at the plate.
Now with Wallach in on the grass, Foley and Paredes have moved in, so have the outfielders.
Not expecting Alfredo to hit the ball with much authority to the outfield. They're looking to cut off the short fly ball. Swinging and a miss at a high fastball.
So Martinez comes back. He was 3-0 on Griffin, now 3-2. Just 1 away. 2 in the bottom of the 4th.
Watch Scioscia at first base. Will he be on the move? Griffin, a pretty good contact hitter.
Shelby's the runner at third. Popped up. Foley is back. Makes the catch. Throws the ball into Wallach, and the runners will retreat. So there's 2 away. Sacrifice fly is taken away from the Dodgers.
The big out picked up by Dennis Martinez. Dodgers in a good situation to score their 3rd run. It looked like he took a little bit off of that pitch. Had Griffin out in front on the pop-up.
You know, that's not an easy play, Ken. With Wallach playing in on the grass and Raines playing back, charging for it, it was too far for him. And Foley going backwards and trying to get squared around to make the catch on the run. It's a tough play, and he made it. So Leary, who doubled in the 3rd, is up with a chance to really help his own cause here. Drive in another run. It's already been staked to a 2-0 lead. Shelby and Scioscia at the corners. Martinez has given up 4 hits in this inning. Swing and a miss by Leary. 0-1.
Leary hammered a fastball his first time up. Martinez says none of that this time. He gives him a breaking ball for the first strike.
Fouled away. 0-2. Breaking ball again from Martinez.
Leary even stands up there like a hitter. Has that front shoulder really turned towards the pitcher.
He looks like a hitter.
He drives it right at the pitcher when he swings. Most pitchers are pulling out. Their front foot goes into the bucket or heads towards the dugout, but not Leary.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. 1-2 as Martinez misses. Didn't seem by much. In the bottom of the fourth inning, Dennis Martinez about to deliver his 65th pitch. And it's a beaut. He strikes out Tim Leary. Comes at a very opportune time. The third strikeout for Martinez, who is in trouble in inning number 4. 4 hits given up, including a home run, Marshall's 6th of the season. He gets a strikeout to end it, but the bullpen is on alert. Martinez was in trouble, giving up 2 runs on 4 hits, and the Dodgers leave 2. They lead by 2. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. The Dodgers get 4 runs on 2 hits, an error by Dennis Martinez, and a couple left in the bottom of the 4th. And it's 2-0. Foley, Martinez, and Winningham. What did I say? 2 runs on 4 hits is what it was. 1 error and 2 left on. And it's 2-0.
The Expos have enjoyed some success recently. Interesting shot. The moon.
It's moving.
Off into the distance here at Dodger Stadium on this beautiful evening. The Expos have won 11 of the last 14 games they've played against the Dodgers,
including 7 of their last 8 at Dodger Stadium. They still have a lifetime losing record in Dodger Stadium, 42-71. And lifetime, they're 90-135 against the Dodgers. They have a ways to go to even that up, but they've played them well lately. Tom Foley to lead things off in the top of the 5th inning. Expos down a couple. Tim Leary's given up 4 hits to Montreal. 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. The Expos have stranded 4.
Leary has kept that fastball on the hands of the left-handed hitters. Way to get him away from doing that is turn on a couple and line him down the right field line. There's another one on the inside corner.
And a strike called by Bob Engel. Strikeout number 6 for Leary. Foley wasn't so sure it was strike 3, but he's gone.
See the target? Low inside. 3 pitches later, Tom Foley's on his way to the dugout.
Dennis Martinez.
1 away then for Dennis Martinez. Leary nearing a high. He struck out 9 in 1 game. That's his career high. And he's already got 6 in the top of the 5th here as he faces Dennis Martinez. Down the line, fair. There's Martinez, 6th hit of the season, and it's for extra bases. A double for the pitcher, a run in scoring position as the top of the order comes up. What a hitter.
Dennis hit the ball well his first time up.
Center fielder, Herm Winningham.
When he was thrown out by Pedro Guerrero on the ground to the 3rd. Here's another look at the follow-through. Right down the line between Mike Marshall and that's Paul Rungley making the call.
There have been 3 extra base hits tonight, 2 of them by the pitchers. Leary and Martinez have swapped doubles. The Expos have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. They've stranded 4 tonight. They had 2 runners in scoring position in the 2nd with nobody out. Hard cut by Winningham, strike 1, 0-1. Inside corner again. Belt high, 0-2.
Seems that every Expo left-handed hitter is giving up on that pitch. There might be a slight tail to it. I mean, the ball kind of looks inside, but then swerves over the inside corner.
Leary steps off and Winningham steps out.
So watch the other hitters while you're on the bench. Try and see what Leary's trying to do, and when he comes in with that pitch, you should be ready for it.
Even at that, it's a hard pitch to hit, isn't it?
Well, you're going to have to pull it. You're going to have to be quick. Target's inside again. Fastball high.
A ball and 2 strikes to Herman Winningham. Martinez creeping out of the picture, leading off at second. And strikeout number 7 for Tim Leary.
Third baseman, Tim Leary.
Now this isn't over the inner corner. This looks like some sort of split finger pitch. Just dips underneath Winningham's bat as he swings and misses and strikes out. Now Leary's career high for strikeouts is 9.
And he's already at 7.
That was back when he was with the Milwaukee Brewers. He struck out 9 Yankees on October 3rd, 1985 at Yankee Stadium.
Strike called to Tim Wallach, 0-1. Dennis Martinez out at second base. The Expos trailing 2-0. They try and get back in this game on a night when they're trying to sweep the Los Angeles Dodgers. Montreal 3-5 for this road trip thanks to wins the last 2 nights. 9-11 versus Western teams. Wallach's behind, 0-2. The 0-2 pitch to Wallach. He struck him out. Strikeout number 8 for Tim Leary, who gave up a double to Dennis Martinez with 1 away and then struck out Winningham and then Wallach. That's way outside. So Wallach's gone. Strikeout number 8 for Tim Leary. He and the Dodgers lead the Expos 2-0 in the middle of the 5th. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. From here, we'll fly up the coast to San Francisco, where the Montreal Expos play the first of 3 against the Giants tomorrow night. It'll be Bryn Smith for Montreal against Mike Lacoste, who's 2-3 for the San Francisco Giants. 10:30 Eastern time start for that game. We'll be happy to bring it to you. And then another on Sunday, an afternoon game from Candlestick Park. That one will feature Neil Heaton and Kelly Downs. In between, the Expos send their 5th starter Floyd Yeomans to the mound on Saturday against Rick Russell.
Bottom of the 5th inning here at Dodger Stadium. Top of the lineup for Los Angeles, Steve Sachs, Mike Davis, to be followed by Kirk Gibson.
There have been some trade winds blowing around the major league. There was a trade made yesterday. Leon Durham went to Cincinnati for a left-handed pitcher named Pat Perry, who goes over to Chicago. But did you hear the rumors about your old pal and teammate Eddie Murray? There's a story in one of the Baltimore papers that he's on his way to Philadelphia.
Going up Route 95, Interstate 95 to Philly. Philly sending 3 players in return. This is only speculation.
Yeah, the
folks.
rumor.
It's only a rumor. And I think the rumor started when Paul Owens in the Philly front office came down to Baltimore. And anytime you see a visiting front office type in your ballpark, then the rumors start to fly. And of course, in Baltimore, that means Eddie Murray might be on his way somewhere. They were talking about, what was it, Von Hayes?
Don Carmen, left-handed pitcher, and Luis Aguayo, utility infielder, shortstop.
Well, they have to get Eddie's permission. He's a 10-5 player. Ball fouled off, not fouled off by Steve Sachs. Right to second baseman Johnny Paredes.
He would have loved to have fouled it off.
Sachs is retired easily.
One away for Dennis Martinez as he comes back out after struggling through the fourth. Fourth, fifth, and sixth innings have really been the trouble spot for the Montreal Expos. If you look at the way they've scored runs this season, in the first 3 innings, they're -5 to the opposition. In the late innings, 7th inning on, they're +21. They've scored 21 more runs than their opposition. But in the middle 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're -14. You can look at that and think that maybe the problem is the starters having trouble getting through the 5th and 6th to pass the baton to the bullpen.
Well, that's when the opposition hitters are getting more familiar with the starters, and they could be getting a little bit tired too. This is the second time through the lineup, and your stuff is not quite as good as you thought it was back as it was in the first inning. So you might think you have that same fastball, but it's dropped down a couple of miles per hour, and that's when the hitters can turn on it.
So Dennis Martinez pitches through the trouble spots. Gave up 2 in the 4th. Now working in the 5th with 1 out, and is behind to Mike Davis, 3-0.
The average major league fastball is about 86, 87 miles per hour, and then it starts dropping down to 84, 85. Not everybody's a Nolan Ryan or Dwight Gooden. Can get the ball up there. When they stop dropping down, they come from 92 to 90 and 89.
Yeah. Larry Bernard, the pitching coach, watches Dennis closely.
Larry Bernard, who stresses throwing strikes, saw his Expos staff last year walk fewer hitters than any team in the league.
Strike called to Davis. Now the count is full, 3-2, as Martinez battles him, gets back on him to 3-2. Full count pitch. He struck him out. Strikeout number 4 for Dennis Martinez. 2 away in the 5th.
It's interesting to watch this pitch because it's difficult to tell the difference between a fastball and a changeup, but that was a changeup. Had Davis out in front. Even from up here, and we have the replay, sometimes it's hard to tell. You have to watch the way the hitter reacts. Davis well out in front on the swing. Both pitches look the same coming to the plate, but it's actually the way the hitter swings at it that you can tell whether it was a fastball or a change.
Kirk Gibson's 2 for 2. Fouls one off, 0-1. Singled twice, scored once. Missed last night's game with a stomach disorder. Is obviously feeling pretty well tonight. Either that or he's feeling sick and ornery and he's taking it out on the baseball. So Gibson has a single, a couple of singles, a triple, and a home run in this series against the Montreal Expos. Chance to hit for the cycle in the series.
Sure, American League fans can recall Gibson last year. Tigers trailing 1-0 in the 9th at Toronto on September 27th. Hit that home run off Tom Henke. Tie the score. Tigers went on to win that game to avoid that 4-game sweep at Toronto.
And the rest, as they say, is history. But isn't it all?
Some situations are more historical than others. Gibson also got the game-winning single in the 13th inning that night, or that afternoon. Foul ball back out of play. Count remains at 0-2.
A ball and 2 strikes. Well, Gibson's average has always been pretty good against both right and left-handers. His home runs have come predominantly off right-handers. Last year, 20 of 24 against right-handers. 1-2 pitch. The jump is timed nicely by Tom Foley as he gets up to catch the soft liner off the bat of Kirk Gibson.
At the very top of his leap, as you said, the ball wasn't hit very hard. Nice play by Foley at shortstop. Goes up a little too soon. That's a base hit.
Kirk Gibson's not crazy about it, but Dennis Martinez loves it. After struggling through the 4th, he gets the Dodgers in order in the 5th. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. The Dodgers with 2 runs in the 4th inning up. Dennis Martinez lead 2-0. You see they've out hit the Expos 8-5 as Montreal sends up Tim Raines, Hubie Brooks, and Andres Galarraga to face Tim Leary, who's been very sharp. In the top of the 6th, he struck out 8, given up 5 hits. The Expos have stranded 5. Here's Tim Raines, who singled and struck out. One and 0 from Leary to Raines. Inside 2-0.
Interestingly enough.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, it certainly is. Tim Raines, through his storied career, as he takes a strike, the count goes to 2-1, has never hit a home run in Dodger Stadium. This is the only ballpark in the league where rock is not rolled.
Two and 2. That rolled off the Rock's bat. Foul.
Right now, Tim's just trying to get on base for Hubie Brooks. Bringing the tying run to the plate here in the top half of the 6th. So he's back in the role of a leadoff hitter.
Count is full with Hubie Brooks on deck. And Raines fouls it off. Canadian fans might remember Tim Leary when he was in the Milwaukee organization. In 1985, he pitched with the Vancouver Canadians, then the AAA farm team of the Brewers. 10-7 in 85. Had some strikeouts that year, 136 of them. That was in AAA ball. With the strikeouts that he's got going here, I mean, this guy's on a pace for 160. Won't strike out Tim Raines, who gets a leadoff single in the top of the 6th inning. And now we'll see if the Expos can move him around and get on the scoreboard down 2-0. Raines does his job.
3-2 pitch. Leary going for the middle of the plate. Doesn't want to walk Raines. Timmy equal to the task with a single to center field, and that will bring the tying run to the plate. As Raines stands on first, being held by Mike Marshall. Hubie Brooks is the hitter.
Hubie playing in front of family and friends is obviously like it. He came into this series batting .340 lifetime against the Dodgers. Hits this one on the ground for Guerrero. He goes to second. Does he get one? Yes. Sachs managed to get his feet on the bags and grab that almost errant throw from Guerrero. Got the lead runner. Brooks is safe at first on the fielder's choice. One away.
Raines returns to the dugout. But here's a throw from Guerrero on the run. Almost tosses it into right field. Nice stretch by Sachs, and then he has to avoid the sliding Raines. There would not have been interference on that call. Raines did not reach out to grab him, and he was right on top of the base.
Good play by Steve Sachs. The Dodger defense, you may recall, coming into this season, had led the National League in errors for 3 straight seasons. 155 last year. That was nothing the year before, 182. So far this year, they're in the top half of the 12 teams in the National League. They say Alfredo Griffin has been the stabilizing force in the middle of the infield.
Mariano Duncan, who was the shortstop the last couple of years, now finds himself down at Albuquerque in AAA, trying to regain not only the fielding touch but the hitting eye that he displayed earlier in his career.
Dodgers are 5th in National League defense. They've committed 25 errors. Ground ball over the head of the pitcher. Griffin rushes it, makes a nice play to get Galarraga. The runner advances into scoring position. That's Hubie Brooks, who's now at second, but there's 2 out.
We talked about Alfredo Griffin, his ability with the glove. A chopper by Galarraga over the mound. No play for Leary. Watch Griffin on the run. Now remember, Galarraga gets down the line pretty well for a big man, but he's thrown out by a step and a half by Griffin.
Nice play by Alfredo Griffin. He's had a Gold Glove. The Dodgers were once noted in the 70s for great defense. They won 13 Gold Gloves in Los Angeles in the 70s, just 2 in the 80s. One by Dusty Baker in the outfield and the other by a pitcher, Fernando Valenzuela. Jeff Reed swings at the first pitch and misses. Leary's now thrown 75 pitches.
Alejandro Pena on your left and Tim Cruz warming up on your right. So the Dodger manager Tommy Lasorda has double-barreled action in the bullpen, and Jeff Reed at the plate, who has been called out twice on fastballs on the inside corner. Now you saw how quick he was on that inside pitch. He pulls it foul into the upper deck.
3rd time through the order for the Expos on Tommy Lasorda's pitcher. Part of the reason he's got the staff up in the bullpen, to be sure, is Tim Leary. Works in the 6th with a runner on second base. The 0-2 pitch to Reed. Now there's that pitch in on the corner, but he didn't get it that time. 1-2.
You think Jeff be looking for it right now? He was going for the strikeout right there.
The 1-2 pitch, 2 out. Goes in again, 2-2. Saying earlier about Jeff Reed and the bad shoulder that he injured last year. He's been able to throw out 33% of the attempted thieves, and it's also helped his batting. One of the things about an injury in baseball, we've talked about this before, is you don't get any off days to get over it, or very few of them. You've got a nagging injury, you have to play with it. Reed played with a sore shoulder all year. Healthy this year. Part of the reason for his improved batting, and a big part of the reason for his improved ability to throw out runners. Full count.
Now you saw Leary come inside with 2 fastballs. They both missed. Then he came back with a off-speed pitch to the outer half of the plate, hoping to have Reed well out in front and not being able to handle that changeup to the outside portion of the plate. Now it's 3-2. See where he goes here.
On the ground, Mike Marshall will handle it, and the Expos are gone, stranding their 6th runner of the night. This one, Hubie Brooks, in scoring position. Tim Leary gets out of the 6th after a leadoff single by Tim Raines, and the Dodgers continue to lead the Montreal Expos 2-0. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Well, the Expos obviously have some work to do here, down 2-0 to the LA Dodgers, having won the first 2 games of the series. 2 nights ago, they beat Fernando Valenzuela, who's been having a tough time finding the strike zone. He's walked 34 this year, and his record is 3-4.
You know what he does? He pitches to one half of the plate. And he's going to pitch on that outside part of that plate. And if he hits that outside corner, he's going to get you out if he can do it with consistency. He pitched 2 games in a row. He pitched a real good game against Pittsburgh and then beat somebody, pitched 2 good games. And then the other day, he did not pitch well against the Expos. But I'll tell you one thing. This guy is a quality pitcher. He's going to win a lot of ball games for the Dodgers in 1988, and I hope many more years to come.
Tommy Lasorda has lots of confidence in Fernando Valenzuela, who threw 114 pitches in his 7 innings of work on Tuesday night, 56 of them for balls.
I believe through the first 3 innings of the ball game, he was around the 60 pitch mark.
Tim Leary sits in the Dodger dugout, has a 2-0 lead. His team batting in the bottom of inning number 6. Pedro Guerrero faced Dennis Martinez, who ran into big trouble in the 4th. He gave up 4 hits, a home run to Mike Marshall. After a sacrifice fly, scored Kirk Gibson from 3rd. The 2 runs that he gave up, but then Martinez came back in the 5th and got the Dodgers in order. And now he goes to work in the 6th against Guerrero, Marshall, and Shelby. You notice the decrease in home runs this year? Last year in the National League of Baseball, people like Guerrero and company, the home run hitters, hit 1,824, a National League record. Coming into tonight, 2-0 pitch from Martinez, 2-1. Coming into tonight, 317 home runs. We project that over the course of the season, it works out to about 1,370, or almost 500 fewer home runs over the course of the season. So if people last year said the pitchers just weren't as good, they've obviously improved considerably through the offseason then. Or was it that rabbit ball?
Maybe not the ball, maybe the rabbit bats.
Yeah.
Or the strike zone. Combination of various things, probably.
But if it's the ball, what happened to it? Maybe they shipped it off to the Pacific Coast League, where in a game recently, the Colorado Springs club beat Phoenix 33-12, and there were 13 home runs in the game.
You said they beat Phoenix?
Yeah.
I would say that game was played in Colorado Springs, well up in the altitude.
Remember a former Major League pitcher named Ed Lynch, Mets, Chicago? He retired as a player that night after going 3 2/3 innings, 14 runs on 15 hits, and he said goodnight, folks. Pop up to Paredes. Guerrero's gone, 1 away in the bottom of the 6th. The Labatt player of the game for the Dodgers tonight will receive a Weed Eater, string trimmers that edge and blowers that beat raking. Garden and yard care the convenient way from Weed Eater. Mike Marshall had a great night against Dennis Martinez. Foul ball, strike 1.
You know, with Marshall out of the lineup so many times last year, only played in 104 ball games, the Dodgers were shut out 16 times. That led the major leagues. The Dodgers this year cut down on the time on the disabled list. Marshall's been in every ball game. Strike 2 call. Gibson's missed only a couple of games. Guerrero's been in most of them. You know, Alfredo Griffin's going to be in there just about every day.
Yep. Sachs is durable.
The Dodgers have been scoring more runs, second in the league in batting. They finished last season.
St. Louis is the top team in batting, but also leads in left on base. Part of the reason the Cardinals having some trouble. Ground ball and a base hit. Mike Marshall is 3 for 3.
Center fielder, John Shelby.
The ninth hit off Dennis Martinez.
Dennis gets this breaking ball. Watch it hang towards the middle of the plate. Marshall extends his arm, reaches, and pulls it past the lunging try of Tom Foley.
So the Dodgers have a man aboard with one out in the sixth, and here's John Shelby, who has a hit tonight. He singled and was stranded in the fourth. Stranded at third base. Shelby was out in front of that. 0-1.
John T-Bone Shelby. Has a young son, John T. Shelby III.
Andy McGaffigan's up for the second time. Oh, and 2. And Martinez gets strikeout number 5.
Catcher, Mike Socha.
Pitch over the inside corner is working for both pitchers tonight. Here's a good look at it. Fastball right underneath the hands. Shelby doesn't think it's a strike, but it tails back over the inside corner. And Bob Engel points the direction for Shelby to head. Back to the dugout.
T-Bone's cooked. Marshall takes his lead at first. He's aboard with a single now, 2 out.
But Galarraga not holding Marshall on, even with the 2 outs. Marshall, of course, no steals this year. Didn't have a stolen base last season. Have to go back to 2 years ago when Marshall stole 4 bases for the Dodgers. And this wouldn't be a bad point for him to try and get into scoring position. Not being held on. He's not going.
Fly ball, right center. Hubie Brooks waves Herm Winningham off and makes the catch. And Martinez recovers in the 6th inning after giving up a single to Marshall, who's 3 for 3. He strikes out Shelby, gets Socha to pop up to shallow right, and the Dodgers are gone in the 6th, but the work has just begun for the Expos. They haven't scored and are down 2-0. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. The sun has set on the West Coast. The Los Angeles Dodgers leading the Montreal Expos 2-0 with Paredes, Foley, and Martinez due up in the top of the 7th. Martinez will likely get to bat if the other 2 don't do anything.
11 minutes after midnight back in Montreal, but the Expo fans are looking for a wake-up call for the Expos here in the top half of the 7th here in Los Angeles.
Tommy Lasorda, in his 12th year as the manager of the Dodgers, looks on and sends Tim Leary back to the mound. Leary's given up 6 hits to the Expos. He struck out 8. Facing Paredes for the 3rd time. Johnny Paredes with the bases loaded on Tuesday night. Twice hit singles. Drove in 3 runs on the night. Batting .600 with the bases loaded. 3 hits and 5 chances, trying to bunt his way aboard here, and it doesn't work.
Back in Atlanta, in the first stage of this trip for the Expos, Paredes had bunt singles on successive nights. This time he can't get it past Tim Leary, and the Expos have their leadoff man retired here in the 7th.
Seems it doesn't matter what Foley does. Dennis Martinez won't get a chance to bat. It appears not as Mitch Webster. is out warming up in the on-deck circle.
It's a good look at Mitch getting loose. Foley walking off that foul ball off of his front foot, I believe. Let's take a look at it.
Up and off the shin, maybe?
Ooh.
Oh, and 2 from Tim Leary to Tom Foley. There's that fastball inside again, and he misses again. That pitch has been his most effective weapon tonight. It's been his strikeout pitch. One, 2 is foul.
But Jim, right now, I feel the last couple of left-hander hitters he's faced, in particular Jeff Reed and Tom Foley, that pitch has been a decoy this time around. It's been just off the plate, and then he's come back with pitches that are on the outer half. He has the Expo hitters thinking about that pitch.
There it is again.
There's a pitch away. So this is how you survive more than 1 or 2 times through the order. You don't throw the same thing to the same hitters. You try and mix your pitches up and the location.
Foley hangs in there, fouling off another. The count remains at 2-2.
Right now, Leary might not be throwing as hard as he was in the earlier innings of the game, so he doesn't want to come inside with that fastball. The Expo hitters might be able to turn on it as it loses a little more of that velocity. Now he has to show that pitch and then come back with something outside. This time fastball almost down the middle. It's fouled back. The count remains at 2-2 to Tom Foley.
This at-bat's been a workout for both Leary and Foley. Foley's fouled off 4. The count is 2-2. Fouled off 5. Still action in the Dodger bullpen. Tim Leary now up to 90 pitches, working to the Expos in the 7th with 1 out. The 2-2 pitch. Ball 3 bounces away from Mike Scioscia. No harm with nobody aboard, and the count is full.
It's the left-hander is Jesse Orozco, and the right-hander is Alejandro Pena.
Both were in the game last night. Foley goes the other way, but into the glove of Gibson. So Leary wins the long battle with Foley, and there's 2 away.
Fastball out over the plate, not on the inner half.
Mitch Webster will hit for Dennis Martinez, who cannot win but can lose. Down 2-0. Martinez exits for the pinch hitter in the top of the 7th inning with 2 away. Mitch Webster's up. Webster has really struggled at the plate since the first week of the season. Now his average is down to 248. Left-handed against the right-handed pitcher, 247.
Second game of a doubleheader has the California Angels sweeping the doubleheader from the Orioles. They win 9-6. Webster strikes out. Strikeout number 9 for Leary. That ties his career high.
And with the bullpen up behind him, he gets Webster, the pinch hitter for the pitcher, and gets the bottom of the order in order. Paredes, Foley, and Webster. And Leary goes back to the dugout with a 2-0 lead over the Montreal Expos, and the Dodgers due up. It's time for the 7th inning stretch. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Van Arth and Buck Rogers have chosen Andy McGaffigan as the first reliever to come into the game. LA 2, Montreal nothing.
Andy McGaffigan.
So Dennis Martinez, who only got 2 runs in his last start down at San Diego, comes up completely empty tonight as the Expos have failed to score through 7. As you mentioned, Dennis can be the loser. He can't be the winner as Andy McGaffigan comes out of the Expo pen.
McGaffigan's had some trouble in his last 4 outings. He's pitched just 4 2/3 innings in the 4, giving up 7 runs on 10 hits.
His earned run averages climbed to an even 5 during that stretch. 27 innings pitched, 15 base on balls. It's more than 1 every 2 innings. And that's how you keep yourself in trouble.
Comes in with the Expos down 2-0. Bottom of the 7th inning. The line on Dennis Martinez, 6 innings, gave up 2 runs on 9 hits, struck out 5, and didn't walk a batter. Of the 9 hits he surrendered, 4 of them were in the 4th inning. He made an error that allowed a runner to advance from 1st to 3rd and came home on a sacrifice fly, and right after that gave up a home run to Mike Marshall. Maybe the error shook Martinez up, even though he made it himself. Maybe there's more reason for it to shake him up if it was made by himself. First man up is Alfredo Griffin, and he fouls one off 0-1. Alfredo won a Gold Glove in his first year over in Oakland, even though he made 30 errors. But he was playing on a pretty tough infield, and that's one of the reasons the Dodgers think that he was the perfect man to bring down here, because this infield is known as a tough one to play on, like the one up in the Bay at Oakland.
Very hard infield here at Dodger Stadium, baked by the sun. Not many rainouts here in Los Angeles, although the Dodgers were rained out 3 games in a row.
Trying to bunt aboard, out of the reach of McGaffigan. Paredes can't barehand it, and Griffin's aboard. He'll get an infield hit.
When you're not swinging the bat particularly well, as Griffin has been lately, you have to go to the bunt. He does have good speed. Good try by Paredes. It's been tough to get him anyway. Just out of the outstretched glove of McGaffigan. Infield single.
It looked like a ballet.
Didn't it? A plie by Paredes.
The 10th hit for the Dodgers. Bunt is laid down by Leary. Galarraga fields it to Paredes. Leary does his job. Moves the runner over to second. The Expos tried to get Griffin napping at second. Didn't work. 1 away, and Alfredo Griffin's in scoring position.
So Tim Leary helps himself, moves the runner over for Steve Sachs. Sachs sitting on an 0 for 3 tonight.
And an 0 for series. 0 for 11. The Sachs is empty.
Good slider by McGaffigan. With McGaffigan struggling in his last few appearances out of the bullpen. Look out inside. Count evens up at 1-1. Manager Buck Rogers has decided to go back to the basics with McGaffigan. Try and bring him in only at the beginning of an inning and not with men on base. Maybe take a little bit of pressure off him, then work back into the situation where he gains a little bit more confidence. You can bring him in with men on. Ground ball right at Galarraga. Nice play. Steve Sachs wondering when his first hit against the Expos will come. 1988.
Alfredo Griffin advanced to third on the play. Now 2 out and a runner 90 feet away for Mike Davis, who singled, grounded out, and struck out, and now faces Andy McGaffigan for the first time tonight.
Well, Mike Davis coming over to the Dodgers by free agency. The Oakland A's went out and signed Dave Parker. Hoping that Parker has at least 1 or 2 good years left.
At least at the plate.
At least they know that Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco have plenty of good years left, and they're the ones that are leading the ball club.
Yeah.
Swings through a fastball. The count goes 0-2. Those guys are something. They not only hit home runs, they hit monstrous home runs. They don't hit it 420 plus feet. They don't want it.
Stargell style homers. The 0-2 pitch from McGaffigan, fouled back by Davis. Kirk Gibson will either follow Davis or come up in the bottom of the 8th to lead things off. There's 2 away. The 0-2. Ball 1-2. Pop-up foul, no play.
In last night's ball game, in a situation like this, the Expos picked up that very important 3rd run of the ball game. It means you have to get 2 runners on base to bring the tying run to the plate. Herman Whittingham drove in that run.
The 1-2 pitch. High and away, 2-2.
And that's what led to manager Tommy Lasorda being thrown out of the ball game on a 2-2 pitch to Whittingham. They thought he should have been called out on strikes. Then he came up with an infield hit, drove in a run. And Tommy Lasorda had his little run in with Charlie Williams, who is now at third base tonight.
Griffin at third, 2 out, the 2-2 pitch. He struck him out. Davis isn't happy about it. Andy McGaffigan is. He's struggled of late, and that's a good inning. He gave up a single to Alfredo Griffin, but it was an elusive seeing eye infield hit. Leary laid down the sacrifice bunt, and he got sacks to ground out, then struck out Davis. The Expos come up in the top of the 8th, trailing by 2. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Let's bring you up to date on what happened in this game. No score in the 4th. Kirk Gibson on third base after a 2-base error to the pitcher Dennis Martinez. Pedro Guerrero launches the sacrifice fly to medium center field. It would have to be a perfect throw by Herm Whittingham to get Kirk Gibson. He gets the throw away. It's a little bit up the line. No matter. Gibson was in with the first run of the game, and it was 1-0 for the Los Angeles Dodgers with 1 out in the 4th inning. The next man up was Mike Marshall. He, of the 5 home runs so far this season, make it 6. As Mike Marshall hit his 6th home run, a solo shot, the 9th given up by Dennis Martinez this season, part of a 4-hit, 2-run 4th, and the Dodgers had a 2-0 lead. They'd given the ball to Tim Leary tonight, and with Dennis Martinez out for a pinch hitter, Leary struck out Mitch Webster in the 7th, his 9th strikeout, matching a career high for a game, and Leary's back on in the top of the 8th with a 2-0 lead facing the Expos.
Top of the order for Montreal, Herm Whittingham, Tim Wallach, and Tim Raines. Expos getting down to short strokes here in the 8th inning.
Broken bat. Alfredo Griffin makes the throw. One away. So Herman Winningham over in the leadoff spot tonight. Tim Leary now to face Tim Wallach. Second base hit of the night for Wallach. And the Expos will bring the tying run to the plate in the middle of their order. Tim Raines represents the tying run as he comes to the plate with one out in the top of the 8th inning.
Could that shift to the second spot in the order bring Tim Wallach out of that season-long slump? And swinging the bat very well the last couple of days.
5 hits for this series. First home run since the 19th of April. And now Tim Raines, who has 2 of the 7 hits off of Tim Leary, comes to the plate with a runner on first. Tim Leary has only thrown 4 complete games in his major league career. 3 of them were with the Milwaukee Brewers in 1986. The other was against the Montreal Expos in 1983. Here's his 100th pitch of the night. Ball 2 to Tim Raines, 2-0. Stosha's coming out to talk to Leary.
When you get around that 110, 115 mark of pitches thrown to the plate, when a manager starts thinking about the bullpen.
Tommy Lasorda has been ready to think about it for a while. Peña's been up throwing. Orozco has thrown. Tim Cruz has been up in the bullpen.
Well, right now he's got Jay Howell delivering that breaking ball right there. And it's Jesse Orozco who's been up already, and he seems ready to come into the game. Ground ball. Nice play by Sachs.
What a double play. An absolutely brilliant defensive gem by the Dodgers. Sachs to Griffin to Marshall, and an Expo threat is gone.
Steve Sachs going to the backhand, playing through the middle for the double play possibility, but he stretches to the limit. Nice throw to Griffin, and he throws on the run. Don't double up Tim Raines very often.
He stole a base hit from Raines. And the biggest handshake to Steve Sachs should come from Tim Leary, who's just bailed him out in the 8th. 4-6-3, and Leary's free in the 8th, and the Expos continue to trail by 2. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. 25,283 at Dodger Stadium tonight to watch this 3rd game of the Expos-Dodgers series. The Expos won the first 2. Gibson, Guerrero, and Marshall in the bottom of the 8th to face Andy McGaffigan. The Expos tried to mount a threat in the top of the 8th, and the fans here can really appreciate how the Dodgers took the Expos out of the 8th.
For sure.
I mean, really. That was just a totally rad play by Sachs to Griffin. Marshall.
Gnarly.
Kirk Gibson to face Andy McGaffigan. Bottom of the 8th inning. Dodgers up 2-0. Gibson a pair of singles and a soft liner to Tom Foley at shortstop.
Was able to go to first to third on that throwing error on a pickoff attempt by pitcher Dennis Martinez back in the 4th inning. Scored the first Dodger run. Gibson trying to get something started with a bunt attempt.
You don't expect that from a big burly kind of guy, but he can run.
Well, early in his career when he first came up with the Tigers, manager Sparky Anderson of Detroit compared him to Mickey Mantle. There was a time when Mickey used to drop down a bunt or two. He had the infielders playing way back, respecting his power and not wanting to get themselves hurt. Mickey would drop a bunt down every once in a while and beat it out easily with that combination of power and speed such as Gibson has. But a lot of people felt that put too much pressure on a young player like Gibson. I mean, how many Mickey Mantles come along?
Only one. Sparky's been known to do that to a few different guys.
Galarraga showing his range, coming up with a foul ball. Only one Mickey Mantle. You're trying to be the first Kirk Gibson. Although Gibson's been a very good player. There's another one on your screen, Andres Galarraga. Gibson never made the All-Star team in the American League.
Off the fist, the second baseman Paredes has to be quick. Good play by Galarraga, stretching out, wasn't pulled off the bag.
Third baseman.
And Gibson's gone.
You're right, it was a good play by Galarraga, because if he stretches too soon, the throw will get by him. But watch his reaction on the throw that's wide towards the right field side. He waits to make his stretch until the ball is on its way to first base. In other words, he's not leaning, expecting a good throw.
He gets that foot out, the front foot, lands on it early. The other one probably comes off the bag. You're right. Ground ball, Wallach's turn. His throw's on the money. And Guerrero's gone. 2 away, bottom of the 8th inning.
First baseman, Mike Marshall.
John Dobson had his first major league victory last night. Every reason to relax this evening. But he kept a few copies of the Times today. Front sports page in big bold black letters. Dobson beats the Dodgers.
I wonder what the papers back home looked like in Maryland. Baltimore Sun probably didn't have the account of the game. It was too late.
Yeah.
Sun rises a little bit earlier on the East Coast.
They'll be in tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than getting up and getting your newspaper in the East and finding that the West Coast scores aren't in it.
Exactly. John from a small town about 40 miles northwest of Baltimore. Finksburg, Maryland.
Is it Fink?
No, Fink. Fink. F-I-N-K. It's not in bold print on your map. Let's put it that way.
Marshall's behind Andy McGaffigan, 1 and 2.
So the Expos or McGaffigan are looking to retire Marshall for the first time this night. 2 singles and a home run. Solo shot in the 4th. Dodgers' second run of the evening. It pops him up.
Galarraga should make this play, and does. Andy McGaffigan has had his most solid outing so far in his last 5 as he's held the Dodgers through the 7th, now through the 8th, and will give the bats a chance to work in the 9th with a 2-0 lead for the Dodgers. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Now let's go to TSN Control for another sports update.
Hi, this is Brent Smith. Join me Friday night in the City by the Bay when we'll be taking on the San Francisco Giants right here at 10:30 on TSN.
Brent will be pitching tomorrow night against Mike Lacasse, who's 2-3 for the Giants, who swept the Mets, then had trouble with the Phillies and won just 1 of 3 games. When they win, they talk about an all-Bay World Series. When they lose, well, they don't talk so much about it. But after the sweep of the Mets, there was a column in the San Francisco newspaper, once again, speculating, talking about the all-Bay Series.
People in New York might have something to say about that. They're talking about a Subway Series.
Yep.
Got a long way to go.
That's not that far between Shea and Yankee Stadium. The new third baseman in for Pedro Guerrero is Jeff Hamilton, and he gets a ball hit to him by Hubie Brooks, and there's one away.
Hamilton inserted for defensive purposes by manager Tommy Lasorda. Also a chance to give Pedro Guerrero a bit of a rest in the latter innings of a ball game.
Jeff played a little third base last year. So did a few other guys. More than a half a dozen third basemen for the Dodgers last season. Tim Leary looking for his first complete game. The 5th of his career would be the 2nd against the Montreal Expos. The other one was with the New York Mets.
Look out, Andres.
Andres Galarraga singled, grounded out twice. Leary's had a fine outing tonight. He's matched a career high with 9 strikeouts. He has one away in the top of the 9th inning. Probably the biggest play he got behind him was the double play that got him out of the 8th inning as the Expos threatened in the middle of their order.
First base coach Bobby Winkles. That's his daughter Kelly on the right. Swing and a miss by Galarraga.
1-2. He struck him out. That's a career high of 10 strikeouts in a game for Tim Leary, who is now just 1 out away from a complete game shutout over the Montreal Expos.
Nothing fancy about this pitch, just a high fastball. Galarraga not able to catch up with it. Tim Leary.
Here's a ground ball, backhanded by Alfredo Griffin. Long throw, he makes it to Marshall. Jeff Reed is gone. The Expos couldn't beat Tim Leary after beating Valenzuela and Hershiser. Tommy Lasorda gets a complete game shutout from Tim Leary, who threw 108 pitches, struck out 10, gave up 7 hits to the Montreal Expos, and the Dodgers avoid the sweep, winning 2-0 tonight.
Reaction from Tim Leary as the Expos go down for the 5th time this year by the shutout route. 7-hit complete game for Leary.
2-0 Dodgers. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. TSN Expos baseball has been brought to you by Petro-Canada. Dealers and agents, our energy is Canada. Expos baseball is a presentation of the Sports Network. It's protected by copyright. Any use of this broadcast without permission is prohibited. The final score tonight from Dodger Stadium: the Dodgers avoid the sweep, defeating the Expos 2-0. The winning pitcher with the complete game shutout is Tim Leary. The losing pitcher, Dennis Martinez, now 3-6. The Labatt player of the game for the Montreal Expos is Tim Wallach, who had a pair of hits. He'll receive an Inuit carving from the makers of walkabouts. And for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Tim Leary, who struck out a career-high 10, went the distance and will receive a weed eater from Poland. The Expos relief pitchers will receive new Remington Micro Screen Ultimates. Shaves as close as a blade or your money back. And the Skill Super Twist cordless power screwdriver. When the pressure is on, count on skill. Our next Expos telecast on TSN will be Friday night, tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern Time, when the San Francisco Giants will play host to the Montreal Expos at Candlestick Park. The next Blue Jays telecast will be Saturday, May 21st, 8:30 Eastern, when the Milwaukee Brewers will play host to Toronto. Stay tuned now for Extra Innings, our phone-in show. with Expos pitching coach Larry Bernard. Larry will be along to take your calls at 416-445-1811 after this.